All right, here we are again, going through last couple rules with our exponents here. And then we'll use these and see where they're useful here. So we're going to go through what we do when we have negative exponents and what we call the power rule. We're going to start with the power rule. The power rule is when we have a power to a power. So these are all three examples of that when I've got this power that's going to a power. The rule is that we just multiply. So if I had like x to the third to the seventh, I'm just going to multiply those exponents here. So that would be x to the 21st is what that is. Because remember, this is just exponents to an exponent is just repetitive multiplication. This is like x to the third times x to the third 7 times. So this rule is not usually too difficult. We're just multiplying those. The one thing I will tell you guys, please make sure, like, if you had if it was 2x to the third to the 7th, this becomes 2 to the 7th x to the 21st, which you'd actually go through and find out what 2 to the 7th is and go that route. So this would actually be 128x to the 21st. So don't forget, it's not, I see a lot of people put 14. It's not 2 times 14. Because this is really 2 to the first. We multiply the exponents, not the coefficient to the exponent. Okay? So if I go through here, if I have multiple exponents, we're just going to multiply that. 3 times 2 and then 4 times 2. So this will be m to the 6th and to the 8th because I went 3 times 2, which gave me 6, 4 times 2, which gave me 8. This next one, I know I'm going to have a y to the 6th, but please remember this is 4 to the 2nd as well. Okay? So this becomes 16 because 4 times 4, well, 4 to the 2nd is 16. This next one here, I go and again multiply those exponents. So this will be x to the 8th, again because 4 times 2, and then y to the 12th because 3 times 4 is 12. And then I have to remember this is 3 to the 4th power. 3 to the 4th is 3 times 3. Times 3 times 3, which gives you 81. This is what you get from that. So again, the big error that I see with this is people want to go, this is 12, not 81. Usually people remember that bit there. Negative exponents. Let's talk about negative exponents and how to deal with them. Negative exponents, I remember we talked about war and you just cancel things out on either side. I think of negative exponents as they're really spies. So if I look at, let's look at something like this. Let's say we had like 3x to the negative second all over, let's say y here. So this is really just a spy. It's on the wrong side. It should actually be down here. So that's how we deal with those negative exponents, is we kick them to the opposite side. So this would be 3, and then this would be x to the 2nd y, and that maybe make it positive because it's really a spy. It should be down in the other army is what it should be. If it was a negative down in the denominator, then we would kick it up to the numerator. Okay, so if I look at these couple examples, this one doesn't have a battle line, but it really does. It's just nothing down here. This is a spy here, so I'm going to kick that sucker down. And so I'm going to have negative 2, x to the 4th, that all stays because the negative 2 is only to the y here. And so then we'll have y to the positive 2nd on that part. Moving on to another example here. Again, I just draw my lines here. The 3/4 can't divide into each other, so we just leave it. And then I have x to the 2nd. Just the x here should go up here. And it's going to combine with this x to the 4th, and now we're applying the product rule. So it should be x to the 6th, because remember, x to the 4th times x to the 2nd. We're going to add those exponents. And I have this y to the 2nd, which doesn't do anything. It just stays right there as well. Looking at the next example here again, this one adds a couple different things in here. So again, 2/3 doesn't simplify any. Then I'm going to look at my x's. I've got 1 and I've got 2 here. That's just my quotient rule like I did the other day. So this one's going to be gone, and one of these is going to be gone, so I just have an x in the denominator here. And then I have this y to the negative 2nd. That's going to kick down because it's a spy. And so that'll be y to the second here, and I'm going to times those two together, which will give me y to the fifth because I add those. And that's how we deal with negative exponents. We just kick them to the other side. They're on the wrong side. Again, I think of them as being spies. Okay, so let's join these two together. Let's make sure you're good here. This is a lot like what we did with the quotient and the product, guys. You did your product or your product rule first. I always do the quotient rule last, and so in this case I want to take care of my power rule here first. Okay. Please be aware on this one here, this 2 to the second, this is really -1 here. So this should be -1 to the second, which, guys, -1 to the second is just -1 times -1, which is going to be +1. Okay? So I'm going to have, in this numerator, I'm going to have 1, and then a to the second, b to the 8th, because, again, we times. And that's still all over -2, b, a to the -2. Now I do my quotient rule. So this -2 stays because there's just a 1 up here. If I look at my a's, this negative exponent has to kick up here, and it combines now with this. So this will be a to the 4th because I add with my product rule. And then I have my b's. I have 8 and 1. That one's gone, and one of those is gone, which means now there's 7 here, so that'll be b to the 7th. Bada bing, bada boom. So just do that power rule first. I do the power rule first, then any product rules, and then I do quotient rules. Well, I take care of my negatives and then my quotient rules. Again, I do any power rules first, then I do my product. Then I take care of my negative exponents, and then I do my quotients. So on this one, again, I got this power rule, so I'm going to do that one first. So 2x to the second. Remember, this is going to be 2 to the second, so 2 times 2 is 4. And then x times x to the second, which I'm going to multiply, which gives me x to the 4th. Okay, now if I draw this out here, this negative is going to stay. The 4 is going to stay because there's just a 1 over here. I've got this x to the -1st, which has to go down, and it can combine with this x to the 4th, which gives me x to the 5th in the denominator. And then the only other thing is left is this y to the 4th, which does not battle, it just stays up here. It got spied on, and there you go. Okay, so just do one thing at a time. Don't get them too confused in your head. One rule at a time. Again, I like to say, okay, let's take care of my product or my power, then my product negatives, and then quotients. Sometimes you have some that are inner within those power rules, but anyway. All right, math moment with Mommy.